but it might be partially blamed due to your poor leadership. You know, when a team loses, a good coach takes responsibility. A good coach doesn't say, well, our defense didn't do good, well, our offense. He doesn't say that. A good coach says, I didn't coach good enough. I didn't lead well enough. These guys that blame all their players just got the plays from the coach. It's the coach's responsibility to stand up. And men, it's your responsibility to stand up. If your wife's not what she should be, it could well be because you're not what you should be. So, do you want to be a godly husband? First of all, you love your wife. Hang on a second. All right. 3 ways to love your wife. Write this down. Don't look at me. Write this down. Love your wife with sweetness. Boy, I'm going to get a big hand now. All right. Ooh, I spilt money everywhere. It doesn't matter. My cup runneth over. All right. Colossians 3:19. Husbands, love your wives. Don't be embittered against them. Don't be bitter. Love your wives. Now, I took 3 years of Greek. I don't know all, but I do know this. When it's a present, active, imperative. Imperative means you got to do it. Active means you keep on doing it. Present means you start now and you go from now on. You keep on loving your wife. And don't be embittered. Picrino. Don't be a sour pickle all the time. It's the same word used in Revelation 8:11 about the fallen star wormwood that made the water bitter in the book of Revelation. Husband, don't be a wormwood. Don't be bitter all the time. Don't make your wife's life bitter. Stop being cantankerous all the time. Stop being in a bad mood all the time. Good gracious. Surely you feel good sometime. Quit snarling all the time. Quit groaning all the time. Stop speaking harshly to your bride. Stop being grouchy. Quit whining like a baby. Grow up. Man up. Quit being so mean all the time. Don't be bitter. Be sweet. She'll reciprocate. God will bless you. Love your wife with sweetness. And then love your wife with selflessness. Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives as Christ also loved the church, gave himself up for her. Gave himself up for her. Surrendered. Jesus surrendered himself for us on the cross. We're his bride, the church. And men, he gave us the example of how to treat the bride. We're to surrender. We're to give ourselves up. You say, well, I'd die for my wife. Great. Would you live for her? Don't just die for her. Live for her. Don't go around being a sovereign potentate. Be selfless. Love your wife selflessly, sacrificially, like Christ loved the church and died for it. Don't bully her. Before you criticize your wife for her weaknesses, remember, those are the things that kept her from getting a better husband. I knew you'd like that. Love your wife with selflessness. Love your wife with service. Oh, I got a big one here now. Yeah. I'm going to do 2 on that one. Ephesians 5:28, so husbands ought also to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. How do you love yourself? By meeting your needs. How do you love your wife? By meeting her needs. It's not rocket science. It's just plain old Christianity. Love your wife like you love yourself. You're one flesh. When you love her, you're loving yourself anyway. Love your wife with service. All right. Godly husband loves his wife with sweetness, selflessness, and service. Now, not only do you need to love your wife, you need to lead your wife. Lead your wife. I'm going to need some change in a minute. I'll pass the container here. Genesis 18:19, for I have chosen him, God said, so that he may command his children, his household after him, this is Abraham, to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring upon Abraham what he's spoken about him. I've chosen him so that he may command his children and his household after him. You need to lead your wife in a loving way. 1 Corinthians 11:3. This is so strong. I want us all to read it. You want to line up in God's line of authority, and when you line up in God's authority, you get God's protection. You get out of authority, you don't have God's protection. You don't. Read 1 Corinthians 11:3 with me, please. But I want you to understand that Christ is the head of every man, the man is the head of the woman, and God is the head of Christ. So you've got God, you've got Christ, you've got the husband and the wife and the children. And everything's lined up like this. That's how you get the blessing of God. And the emphasis here is on responsibility, not the privilege of leading them, but the responsibility. It means you can do better. You're able to respond. That's what responsibility means. I'm able to respond. Don't tell me I can't be a better husband. I can be a better husband. I am responsible. I am able to do it. I'm able to respond correctly. I'm responsible. I'm not going to blame everybody else for why my marriage doesn't work. Husband, lead your wife. That's your responsibility. It's your privilege. Lead her in prayer, lead her in spiritual growth. Lead her with a godly example, be a Christ-like man. Let her see Christ in you at home. Lead her with kindness. Do not raise your voice at her. Lead her with